It's time for us to have a look at what's happening outside Africa, and we have Joe Hansen to help us with that. Good morning, Joe. It's always great to have you.
Good to be back again, guys.
Yes.
Thanks for having me. Well, quite a sad story in Egypt, but I can tell you that there are more sad stories, unfortunately, this Monday morning. And I'll go straight into the stories right away. Now, explosions have ripped through a fireworks warehouse in the Armenian capital of Yerevan, killing at least 5 people and injuring dozens more. Video footage from the Somalu market on Sunday showed grey smoke billowing over a building and people scurrying away from the area. Rescue workers sifted through twisted metal and rubble in a search for survivors as clouds of dust and smoke hung in the air. There were bystanders who decided to help victims move to safe areas. The blast, which killed at least 5 people as we speak this morning, well, we're told more numbers will indeed come up as the search is still ongoing, and injured more than 60, according to America's health agency, sent huge plumes of thick black smoke rising through nearby streets as terrified civilians fled the scene. Dramatic video footage actually revealed, as you can see there on the screen. The cause of the incident is still unknown, but the explosions ignited a large fire which spread through the halls of the market and reduced it to rubble. When the smoke began to clear, the smoldering husk of the gutted shopping center was revealed as rescue workers and civilians alike descended on the rubble to search for survivors. So that's one story that's indeed making people actually wonder what could have led to the fire. Well, hopefully we'll bring to you an update in our subsequent news bulletin, especially when we go outside of the African continent on beyond the continent. Well, away from that one, let's go to another rather sad story. A Palestinian gunman opened fire at a bus near Jerusalem's Old City early on Sunday, wounding 8 people in an attack that came a week after violence flared up between Israel and militants in Gaza, police and medics have said. Well, 2 of the victims were in serious condition, including a pregnant woman with abdominal injuries and a man with gunshot wounds to the head and neck, according to Israeli hospitals treating them. The U.S. ambassador to Israel, Tom Knight, tweeted, and you're going to see the tweet later on, just a very few seconds now on the screen, that some of them were American citizens among the wounded. Yes, he said, deeply saddened to confirm that Americans were injured in this attack. I've spoken with the families and will keep them in my prayers, continue to monitor the situation. An embassy spokesperson disclosed no other information or details as well. But quickly, U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer said in a press conference that 3 of the 8 people wounded in the attack were Americans from Brooklyn. Now, the shooting happened as the bus waited in a parking lot near David's Tomb on Mount Zion, just outside the Old City walls. Israeli media identified the suspected attacker as a 26-year-old Palestinian from East Jerusalem. Now, later yesterday, police said the suspected attacker turned himself in. Speaking at a meeting of his cabinet on Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister, talking about Yair Lapid, said the suspected attacker was a resident of Jerusalem who was operating alone during the shooting and who had previously been arrested by Israel. So it's a premeditated attack, planned out, and the aim was indeed achieved. But the good thing is he has been caught, is in police custody, and they hope to retrieve and get more information from him on why he decided to carry out that dastardly act and what are his plans. Nefarious, you could say, right? And many people are still wondering why now, especially after you had the Israeli, of course, the Gaza and all the fights that just took place last week, where Egypt came in as a mediator to solve that situation. But now this is something else that's taking place. But that's all I can bring to you from stories coming from outside Africa. Don't forget, at 1 p.m., you could stay with us. We'll bring to you more news from outside of the continent. That will be beyond the continent, also at 8 p.m. as well.
That's some really sad story there, Joe. Thank you for the updates from outside Africa. But I mean, it was like we just finished having one conversation about the fires here in Africa, and then we moved over to fires outside Africa. Just really sad updates there.
Really, really sad.